Hello everyone, Zelrint here, and for today's video on Umamusume, we have got the news that we were looking for when it comes to all the bugs we were experiencing related to the support card changes on the update on the 11th. So 2 days later, basically, or today, this morning on November 13th, they had acknowledged that there was issues with the rare cards. I think the big one a lot of people noticed was the rare Rico. The 5th event was bugged and not triggering correctly. And so they acknowledged all of those were bugged, as well as a support card, Smart Falcon, missing its skill changes. And so they had this come out last night for me. I mean, it was early morning for them. And then 3.5 hours later, they have mentioned it is resolved. So that is a pretty significant. They also mentioned that anyone that had this bug occur in a run utilizing these cards, that they will give compensation to them. So I believe it says it down here somewhere. Yeah, toughness 30. So basically, they're going to give you toughness 30s to make up for those runs that got bugged out from it. So pretty nice. Now, it does still suck that if you had like a godlike run that you lost the run. But it is what it is. At least they're giving you the energy back to be able to continue pushing runs, which is very important, especially if you're free to play. But the rare one wasn't the thing that I think a lot of us were looking for. I mean, it's very useful on the Rico card, of course, for building your aces if you don't get the SSR up there in dupes. But we have the they mentioned only Smart Falcon, even though there's other big cards that we're looking forward to, and they are all updated. I can confirm, even though they mentioned Smart Falcon here, all of the ones, specifically 3 of them that we're going to take a look at here, have been updated and now are working properly and have their newest skills. And they're very, very important. And so that's kind of what I want to talk a little bit now that we know that they're fixed, because making parents and grandparents has just gotten that much easier. One of the things I've noticed, if you've watched my Champions Meetings runs, for example, it was so easy to win with the frontrunner because so many people were not bringing groundwork. And now it's going to be much easier to actually build groundwork parents, so that's not going to happen as much. And so we'll look at the support cards first. So the first one they mentioned is the Smart Falcon. I think this is the one that most people were looking forward to, is they have now added groundwork into her events. Not only did it get added into her events, it was added onto the first event in the 3-chain event, and it's a guarantee, no 50-50. And so whenever you're doing a parent run for your front runners, this is a must-have. This is what you borrow. If you're borrowing Kitasan Black for your runs, you borrow this now. You can just use weaker cards. Your main target is just finishing the run and getting that 600 stat points in speed, stamina, and power. And not even say now, since power is so important to me, the main thing is power. Trying to get power to that 600. If I'm willing to sacrifice on the other stats if the run's not going as good, just to make sure power gets to 600, because of how valuable those are currently going through the Unity Cup. And so you will pretty much always want to borrow this. It's a power card, so that also helps meet that power threshold. But it's not going to be as good in ace runs because we're kind of going into that wit meta, so you're pretty much wanting speed and wit, and then Rico potentially, depending on your build. But for your parents and grandparents, bam, you got that. Plus, it has access to Frontrunner Savvy, Wet Conditions, Oi Racecourse, Cloudy Days. Those all have their value depending on the tracks and what you're making for your parents and grandparents. Frontrunner Savvy always being good for frontrunners. So really, really solid card. No longer do you have to use the Air Groove Guts card trying to get random hints, or like I was doing, because I actually had a decent amount of groundwork sparks, just getting it on inspiration. Every single run, I have a shot. No guarantee on the sparks, but I at least will have the skill to give me that shot to get groundwork. Now, that's not the only one. There's the new skill, Umamusume, that you probably heard about. That's pretty solid, especially for late surgers and closers, that we're all trying to get for our Umas. Now, we haven't had time to really grind out parents and grandparents, so even with this update, Virgo Cup, you may be kind of screwed to a certain extent, but it is available, and if you're desperate, you can use this as your borrow. It is going to be the Power King Halo card. Now, this one is just like Smart Falcon, except now they had Umamusume added to it, which I've heard people call the groundwork of everything but frontrunners because it's so strong. A nice positioning skill that's going to activate early race. It's the one that Goldship has by default, so Goldship doesn't need it. But when it comes to building your parents and grandparents, you just bring this card, and then right there in the first chain on the bottom of it, it's there. And these cards, this one plus the Smart Falcon one, are good enough that when you're building like your grandparents, one thing I'm targeting now are just generically good parents and grandparents, or generically good grandparents that I can then build like very focused parents. Is I bring this card plus the Smart Falcon card. I have one copy. You can only borrow one. But if you have at least even 0 limit break, it don't matter the limit breaks. All you care about is the skill. And you bring, if you have one of them, you bring one, you borrow the other, and now you can potentially make a generic grandparent that has both groundwork and Uma stand that you can then just use to continuously build multiple. So it allows you to multitask your runs in the focus as well. You really couldn't do this when you're chasing hints, because then you're going to just sacrifice the run overall and start losing races for affinity. These ones, I've tested them now in a few runs. Being power cards, of course, it makes the run a little bit harder, but you're not needing extreme stats to win the races for the affinity. And so this plus, this one plus the Smart Falcon for groundwork have been very useful. But there's another one that it hasn't really been on my radar, but it is another big one, I think, for a lot of people when it comes to farming straightaway spurt. Now, I didn't find this one as important because we do have the ability to borrow Sweep Tosho Speed, which has it built into their event. But if you're wanting to build it into your parents and grandparents, which I think is a good thing to do, Straightaway Spurt is now been added to Air Shakur, which has same thing, except it's on the second event, but it is a guarantee. Now, very rarely do I see the second event. I mean, very rarely do I not see the 3 chain events not happen, but even more rare for the second one, not the fire. So now you have Straightaway Spurt on this card as well. It is a wit card, so if you've been one of those people that has been unlucky to get a lot of copies of this one, which a lot of us have put pretty low value on, I still would say it's not the best. I mean, the skills on it really doesn't provide much. Now, it has unyielding for the future potential, but the big thing you'd want is a straightaway spurt, and so you can kind of use this for your runs as well. Now, me personally, I'm not really focused on those, but then again, I'm a whale and I have like most of the good cards MLB at this point, so my borrow is very flexible. But when it comes to what I borrow, if I'm going to build someone that needs straightaway spurt, I just borrow this because it's a speed, very strong speed stat stick card that has some decent skills with slipstream, and then you have straightaway spurt in it. Now, the big negative on this one, it is a 50-50 shot. So after her first event, if you don't get it, you're not getting it. But being a speed card and me being willing to use carrots if needed to do more runs, I find this one just a better one to use overall for it. And then I don't even have to worry about grinding out parents and grandparents. So it ultimately depends on kind of your approach to it and kind of if you're willing to do multiple runs, if you're able to take the gambly one out. Because anything where straightaway spurt is good, for your end closers, you're going to want to have it on your end closers because it's just it's a really good Excel. So you have that. So we have a lot more options here. So I thought I'd just make a quick video now that it is fixed and available in game. I've done a couple runs with them. It feels very good. Now, I haven't gotten lucky enough to get them actually on the Sparks yet, but over time, I'll eventually be able to build my parents and grandparents, and so will you, which will pretty much become necessary because, like I said, in the past Champions meetings, I was seeing most people for their frontrunners not having groundwork, probably because they couldn't get it built up within their decks, and there really wasn't options for building an ace card-wise. I mean, you can use Smart Falcon now as your borrow, especially if you're decent on cards, but power is pretty weak. I feel like future Champions meetings, maybe not Virgo, because Virgo's just right here. It's like 7 days after this update now. But for future ones, that might not be the case. Most people are going to start having groundwork more solid, and then they're going to be able to build stronger Umas overall, because some of the ones that I ran into Champions meeting, maybe they had groundwork in that, but then you look at their deck and they're using the Guts Air Groove card, which really kind of hurts their overall quality of their deck. But yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up since they are now available. And so parent grinding got just that much easier. Now all we need is Spark selecting and reroll and then bam, we're going to be able to make some really, really good parents and grandparents. I'm hoping that'll come with our first anniversary update as like the early quality of life we get. But we'll see what happens with that. But that's pretty much it for now. And if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.